town called Chanel lived a girl named Shannon and her best friend too. Shannon was a Christian, Katie was not, and this hurt Shannon an awful lot. To build up her courage, she often tried, but now she put her fears aside. She grabbed her Bible, put a smile on her face, and quickly walked to Katie's place.
Katie!
She said, her eyes shining bright.
I brought you this. I've come to show you the light. Take this Bible and read it through. It's filled with God's promises made just for you.
Katie replied,
I don't think I want this book. Take it. I won't give it a second look.
Shannon tried hard, her answer to find. Then Dr. Seuss came into her mind.
Do you want it in a box? Do you want it with a box?
I don't want it in a box. I don't want it with a box. I don't want this Bible, friend. Take it. I don't want it. That's the end.
This went on for an hour or more, but before Shannon went out the door, she left her Bible, and that is when Katie's adventures with God began.
Where should I start? Oh, look at this. The very first book, Genesis.
She read the story of Adam and Eve. This creation stuff was so good to believe. God had formed people with care, not left it to chance or a bang in the air. But God had spoken, and all was well. But soon a snake slithered in, straight from hell. Katie read of the devil in disguise, as he fed Eve a bucket of lies. She read of the fall. She read of the prince. She read of the God that would give his son's life. The same promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all because of that stupid snake. She read of a flood, and when it was done, there was still the promise of God's own son.
When is he coming? I can't hardly wait. I have school tomorrow and it's getting late. I wish I could go there. I wish I could see just what this Jesus can do for me.
Before she stopped thinking, there came a sound of wind blowing from all around. Katie felt the tugging. Her whole body shook. Before she knew it, she was inside the book. She was outside a barn with a family there, with simple shepherds kneeling in prayer. But before she could blink, she was in a large crowd.
Crowd. I can't hear a thing. This crowd is so loud.
Blessed be the cheesemakers, that's what he said.
You must be loony. Get back in your bed. He said, blessed be the peacemakers, blessed be the poor, blessed be the suffering, and a whole lot more. A little while later, she was in a bunch. She was getting hungry. It must be close to lunch. The only food was some loaves and some fish.
Loaves, fish.
But that's not enough for my supper dish.
A man blessed it and broke it. Then to the people he gave plenty of food, with plenty to save. The faces suddenly changed. But the man was still there. He was riding a donkey, a sight most rare. The crowd and Katie were up on the street, on their feet, clapping and cheering. But only the next moment, it seemed,
Crucify him!
was all that they screamed. They thought that this Jesus guy needed to die.
How can this be?
Katie started to cry. Some guards beat him till he could hardly stand. They drove nails through his feet and his hands. They put up a sign that said, King of the Jews. They mocked him and said, King? I didn't vote for you. Katie watched in horror as they crowned his head. Then she cried when she saw that the man was dead. He's dead. Then with a flash of light and a great big boom, Katie found herself outside his tomb. There were two Marys there, and Salome was there too. They saw the tomb empty, and in awe they said,
Aww.
No. This is supposed to rhyme. That's why I said awe, as in A-W-E. Let's try it again. Where were we? Oh yeah. Salome was there too. They saw the tomb empty, and in awe they said,
Ooh.
Then they saw the angels in heavenly clothes, who said,
He is not here, for he arose.
Then slowly, yet quickly, faded the tune, and Katie found herself in a gargantuan room. She saw on a throne the man who had died. She knew him by the holes in his hands and his side. She asked,
How can this be? Why did you let this happen to you?
his simple response,
To make my promise come true. You see, I came to earth my people to save, from the devil, from death, and even the grave. My Father sent me from above to show the world his awesome love.
But how can you love me?
she asked.
With my sin.
That's where my death on the cross comes in. I love you enough. I wanted to die.
When Katie heard this, she started to cry. He held her close and patted her back. Then her alarm clock went off, and she hit her head smack. She glanced around her room, had a band in her head, then she looked down at her Bible, and here's what it said.
For God so loved the world he gave, his only Son, the lost to save, that whosoever in him believes, eternal life from him receives.
Tears of joy ran down her face as she thought of God's redeeming grace. Then she knew what she wanted to do. She closed her eyes and said,
Jesus, thank you. Thank you for your love and freedom. You give me all I need and then some.
Katie thought of her dream as she walked out the door. That's all there is no more.